In news just coming in, National Security Advisor Shivshankar Menon has denied any mistrust between the army and civilian establishment. Menon was reacting to questions posed by headlines today after former DGMO Lieutenant General A.K. Choudhury claimed that he was summoned by former Defence Secretary over the apparent and reported coup fears. Menon said, and I quote him here, "I don't see any mistrust between the civilians and men from the army. I work very closely with the army. I don't see any mistrust." Well, that's the latest coming out on that top story, where you have the former DGMO speak after 2 years of a report that came out on a reported coup, really, by the former Army Chief, General V.K. Singh. What we have now is the former DGMO speaking exclusively to Headlines today, where he has spoken about the movement of two army units near the capital. We have Jugal Paror joining us on the phone line. Jugal, the NSA rubbishing claims of distrust between the civilian establishment and the army. This after the former DGMO Lieutenant General Choudhury has himself spoken about some sort of distrust between two individuals.
That's absolutely correct. In fact, Vedika, I just asked this question to the National Security Advisor, Mr. Shivshankar Menon, and in response, he said that as the NSA, as the person in charge of the national security matrix, he said that I work very closely with the civilian setup. I work very closely with the army. I am myself a part of the civilian setup, and I do not see that there is any mistrust at all between the two sides. It yet again brings us back to that denial mode that the government of India has always been in, and all the agencies of the government have been in ever since the time this was first reported. But now the NSA, Shivshankar Menon, confirming it. He's saying that as far as he is concerned, as far as his view is concerned, there is no scope of any mistrust. But Vedika, as I said, this is absolutely inconsistency with what the Ministry of Defence, whether it's the Defence Minister himself, whether it was the then Chief of Army Staff, General V.K. Singh, they were always in denial of this development. And despite General A.K. Choudhury, who was then the DGMO, speaking out to Headlines today and putting it absolutely on record,
yes,
that there was indeed an issue of this type, the government continues to be in denial. It's a highly embarrassing situation for the government, but as I said, at least on the face of it, the government seems to still want to run away from it.
All right, so the NSA, they're speaking exclusively to Jugal Paror. Jugal, thanks so much for joining us on that breaking news story.